What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I am back again with another video, and as y'all can tell from the title of today's video, I'm going to be ranking all the unique seasons in the game, which is basically the first 12. I know there was a few unique seasons after Season 12, but Seasons 1 through Season 12 were pretty much the time that seasons were actually good. So I'm going to rank Season 1 through Season 12, 12 to 1, and it should be a fun time. I mentioned in my last video that I felt like seasons were the death of LDOE, and when I say that, I mean pretty much seasons after Season 12. Seasons 1 through 12 were decent and did help the game by being able to balance permanent and temporary content, but that doesn't mean that some seasons weren't better than the other. If you guys enjoy, be sure to leave a like, be sure to subscribe, it is free, you can always change your mind later, there are no hard feelings. Anyway, with that said, I'll stop yapping, let's get right into the video. So, starting off the list, at number 12, I have Season number 4. Now, in my opinion, Season 4 itself was honestly just kind of boring. This was mainly like a winter season, which LDOE has had really good winter events before, and this just didn't happen to be one of them. In my opinion, it was very boring. It was very forgettable. I had to go back and watch like 3 or 4 videos just to kind of jog my memory of what Season 4 was. And I'm sure a lot of y'all think about Season 4, you have no idea what anything in the season was. It didn't really add anything of significance except maybe a couple armor skins or bike skins. But honestly, yeah, Season 4, kind of trash. Number 11, I have a Season 5, which is honestly pretty much just a continuation of Season 4, except it was a little bit more interesting. There was some memorable boss fights. I do remember there was something where you had to like decorate a tree with ornaments, and at the end of the season, you were able to like take a picture, and I think I still have that picture of my season somewhere in the camera roll. But honestly, again, very similar to Season 4. Season 5 was just forgettable because it being a winter event, it really didn't add anything of significance apart from skins. Number 10, I have Season 8. Season 8 is honestly another one that is pretty forgettable. What Season 8 was it was a fair event, but not like the fair we know now. Well, kind of like the fair we know now. It was like the first iteration of it. There's Fair Version 1 and Fair Version 2. The Fair Version 2 is the one we've had the past few years that they keep bringing back, which is all from there. But then Fair Version 1, the one that was in this update, that was 4 years ago about. I think it's the same location, but there was totally different tasks for it to be like a unique season event for the fair. And then when they did bring it back for version 2, they just redid the entire thing. So again, like Seasons 4 and 5, it was very forgettable, not adding really anything of significance with it just being a temporary event. But looking back at it, it looked like it was a more fun event than Seasons 4 and 5. At number 9, I have Season 11. The first few seasons, there were a handful of updates and seasons that revolved around the crater. And really all this did was just add a couple new features to the crater, being that you can change the skins on the shop, which is, kind of useful, but nothing really crazy. It also added contracts, which, is a pretty essential part of the multiplayer now, so good on them for that. Then they also redid how tournaments are, which I think was pretty much the biggest change they did here, because the way tournaments worked is it was just random one random tournament anyone would be placed in and be the same prizes no matter what the tournament, compared to what it is now is there's bronze, silver, and gold tournaments where you have to win a bronze to get to silver and you have to win a silver to get to gold, and the rewards get better as you get to the harder tournaments. I will say one thing that I did like about this, which I kind of hope they do again, was it was a season that the only way to advance was by doing stuff in the crater. So again, it made people play the crater. So if you're trying to revive the crater, maybe do another crater season. But this was honestly a unique way to do the crater, which I liked. At number 8, I have Season 2. As boring as the season kind of was, I still found it actually very enjoyable because it was the second season they added in the game, so they were still kind of exploring what they were doing. But, it was fun. There was a nice storyline where you'd find notes, and each week you'd be able to access more notes, and you'd be following the story of, I think, Samuel Barker. So there were a couple unique events and unique boss fights, which were honestly, I remember the last fight was very, very difficult. It wasn't necessarily an easy event, but the reward at the very end of the season was the thing that they added this season, Kevlar armor. After you completed all the notes in the season, you'd get a half durability set of Kevlar armor, which, now, since Kevlar's been in the game for years, it doesn't seem like much, but this was the very first Kevlar set you were able to get in the game, and this is the update that added the Kevlar armor. So that is a pretty significant addition, as well as a fun event that went with it, which honestly I think is a perfect way to balance seasons. At number 7, I have Season 6. The way Season 6 worked is there was a settlement that you would go and do tasks for. You'd go and you'd find a specific items to bring to the settlement to put in, to give to this really old guy and get rewards out of him to increase your level in that specific part of the game, which honestly the event itself was boring, but what made the season really good was what they added. And in this season, they had added the sewers to the port, which at the time wasn't that big of a location, but now it is a location that is essential for getting your boat. So the event for it wasn't too good, but the permanent content added was definitely worth it. Now this is where the seasons start to get pretty good. At number 6, I have Season 10. Season 10 really didn't add anything permanent, but the event that came with it was, in my opinion, pretty fun. This was the capture event, where you had to get like special nets and go across the map to capture zombies and bring them back to study them to earn rewards. The event was really nothing crazy, but it was still pretty fun. Number 5, I have the thing that started it all, Season 1. Season 1 was the first kind of iteration of the season, so I'm not really expecting it to be perfect, and by all means it was not perfect, and really it didn't have any specific storyline added to it, but there was a lot of stuff they added. I mean, they added, of course, the season pass, which has been in the game ever since, and that season pass had rewards that were super hard to get at the time. Also, the way the season pass worked at this time was the way it is now is you kill zombies and you get rewards and you get points to keep bringing you up in the level in the season pass, but the way it was here and then for the next few seasons after is you'd have specific tasks you needed to complete to be able to advance in the season, which I think was pretty cool. I think, honestly, I kind of preferred this because it gave you specific tasks to do. I think the tasks were a little, not difficult, but grindy. But Season 1, being the pioneer season, you definitely got to put it up there with some of the best seasons. At number 4, I have Season 9, which was the first creator season they did. This was the season that introduced you being able to sell stuff and basically laid the foundation for the way the creator is now with selling stuff and its currency there. And then, like I said, this was also the first season that took place in the creator, so it was very fresh at the time to be able to do tasks to advance in the season pass for the creator. And what I really liked about the season pass was half the rewards were rewards for the creator and the other half rewards were rewards for single player. So even if you mainly focused on single player, you still had a reason to go over to multiplayer and get yourself some single player rewards. I mean, on paper, this season was really nothing crazy, but I enjoyed it quite a bit. At number 3, I have Season 12. This was the season that introduced the port and the delivery system. It had a kind of interesting storyline with it, but again, like most of LDOE storylines, there's really nothing crazy. I can really honestly only think of like 2 or 3 storylines or mini storylines that the game has made that were really fun, and this was not one of them, but it did introduce port deliveries, which is something that's still in the game, which is something you still kind of need to do to get parts for your boat. It's also a way to get a unique skin and other rewards. I mean, you can get an ATV transmission from doing deliveries, so deliveries is another way to get a bunch of rewards for the stuff you need. It is a good feature in the game that I honestly think is still overlooked, but it's not game breaking. But overall, Season 12 was pretty fun. At number 2, I have Season 7. This was the prison robbery season. This one will hold a special place in my heart because this season started around the time COVID first started, so this was the first season I was really able to sit down for hours on a day fully grinding out, and it honestly didn't disappoint. I mean, basically the way the season was is you would rob a prison. You could either A, choose to sneak in stealthily to get to the rewards, or you could go on a full-on attack to get to the rewards. So this event would cater towards what playing style you preferred, and the rewards were honestly pretty good. I mean, there were some unique weapons, some unique skins. The only really problem with this season is it didn't add anything permanent, but the event that it had was honestly probably one of the best events that we've had. And I mean, I think it'd be cool to see come back, to be completely honest. And then finally, number 1, best season that hands down the game has had ever, possibly the best update the game has had, and that is, of course, Season 3. I've said it before, I am the biggest Season 3 glazer. This is one of the best updates, if you will, in gaming history. There was so much added in here. There was the ATV, which people have been asking for a long time. There was the swamps, ash, and on top of that, they added the new location, Bunker Bravo. a bunch of new rewards, and then people forget they added fishing in this update. And then also in this update, they added events like the Junkyard, was another great way to get stuff towards your ATV. And then the event for the season being Fort Moss was honestly very memorable. A lot of people didn't like it, which I can kind of understand because some people said it was rigged or hackers ruined it, which was a problem in and of itself. But even then, it was still a great way to be able to progress towards your ATV effectively. So, in my opinion, this was literally the perfect balance between permanent content and temporary event content, and making the temporary event content mix really well with the permanent stuff that was added. If Gefir made every season like season 3, then I swear this would be one of the most popular games in the world right now. And that's the video, guys. I hope you all enjoyed. If not, then fuck you. Nah, I'm just playing. But if you did, be sure to leave a like, be sure to subscribe. It helps out more than you'd actually think, so there's no reason not to. Also in the description is a link for the Discord. You can go there and ask any questions you may ever have, or also you can ask them in the comments down below, and I will do my best to answer it to the best of my ability. But anyway, y'all, that is all from me. Hope you guys all have an amazing rest of y'all's day. I'm out. Peace.